So, Stephen King thinks it's okay to bash Stephenie Meyer, to start out on her in public because he's not getting any limelight, whereas Twilight most certainly is. Well, I don't think that's okay. I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to explain exactly why Stephen King needs to go and fuck off. Okay, point number one. This is what Stephen King has been saying about Stephenie Meyer. I'm going to read straight from the article on Hollywood.com, which I'm also going to post a link to in the video, in the sidebar. That way, I think. I don't know. One of those ways. Okay. King didn't mince his words. Both Rowling and Meyer, they're speaking directly to young people, he said. The real difference is that Jo Rowling is a terrific writer and Meyer can't write worth a darn. So you think that Stephenie Meyer can't write? Well, I think around about 18 million people disagree, because that's how many copies her books have sold. Okay? First of all, Twilight has generated so much public interest and so much of, just attention in general. The movie, the books, the merchandise, everything about Twilight has generated so much more attention than, as far as I can remember, any of your books ever did. Yeah. They're good books. They're classic books. Personally, I don't like them. I can't ever get past the third page without boring myself silly. Some people feel the same way about Twilight. Not a problem. Just don't start fucking shouting your mouth off to me about it, because I don't care. How dare Stephen King start in on Stephenie Meyer just because he wants a piece of the limelight? Because I can't think of any other reason why he would have done this, other than to try and get a little bit of the limelight that Twilight has generated on himself. And he couldn't think of a better way to do it than to attack her, because he will never be able to write a book as good as Twilight, aimed at the same audience as Twilight. This whole video is off the top of my head, okay, because I'm trying to just say what I think without it being scripted. I want to just get it all out. Okay. But Stephen King says he does understand the appeal of the apparently crappy series. Again, bullshit, it's not crap, it's fucking amazing. Amazing fucking book. People are attracted by this is another quote, people are attracted by the stories, by the pace, and in the case of Stephenie Meyer, it's very clear that she's writing to a whole generation of girls and opening up a kind of safe joining of love and sex in those books. It's exciting and thrilling, and not particularly threatening because it's not overtly sexual. So as far as Stephen King feels and can tell and thinks, as far as I can tell from this, the reason that he thinks Twilight is so successful with the age group that it is successful with, which is teenage girls, teenage girls in general, is because it covers sexual topics without going too far into detail. It lets you think about what's going to happen. It lets you, I don't know how to say what I want to say. It broaches those subjects. It broaches. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Right. It takes those subjects and it tackles them in a way that makes young girls not feel threatened by reading the books, in a way that allows them to read the books and not feel like they have to go and do those things. Because it's not about that. Edward isn't a pervert, he's not a paedophile, and Bella isn't a slut. The reason Edward goes into Bella's room at night and watches her sleep is because he can't sleep. He wants to see what it's like. He's fascinated, not turned on. There's nothing sexual about it. The only sexual thing about their relationship is the fact that they can't have sex. And it's that anticipation that I believe should always be there. Pisses me off so much. Another quote. A lot of the physical side of it is conveyed in things like the vampire will touch her forearm or run a hand over her skin. He continues. And she just flushes all hot and cold. And for girls, that's a shorthand for the feelings that they're not ready to deal with yet. Yeah, to a certain extent, I agree with that. The reason that the books are so popular with that age group is partly to do with the fact that it can talk about those subjects and in such a way that doesn't threaten the girls. Does anybody get what I'm saying? Seriously. Stephen King, I don't know how he thinks it's okay to do this. I mean, not only does he have a nose like a fucking skeleton, but oh my god, no. Okay, that's not fair. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. There's no point in attacking him over appearance because that's just not fair. But still, how dare he say this? Obviously, he thinks that his books are so good, that gives him the right to criticise Stephenie Meyer to the extent that he's not just criticising her, he's attacking her in a very non-professional way. If he was any kind of a professional author, which obviously he's not, seeing as this has happened, he thinks he's better than Stephenie Meyer, and therefore he thinks he has the right to talk about her in this way. Number one, he is not better. He will never be better. He is equal to, just as good as, and exactly the same as, in almost every single way, but differently. Stephenie Meyer's books appeal to a very different audience than Stephen King's books ever did, and probably ever will, because they're not aimed at the same audience, and that's why I don't think he understands the appeal. You have to be a certain kind of person to understand the Twilight books, and you have to be able to read them and not take them too seriously, because they're not intended for that. They're fantasy. They're a wild fantasy that you want your life to be, but you know it's never going to happen, but you don't care. You read it anyway, and you love it for that. Stephen King's books are horror, as far as I know. I don't know. I can't read them because they're boring. Pisses me off so much. Stephen King, you need to go and fuck off, okay? Your opinion is not welcome when it comes to the Twilight books. If you have nothing constructive to say, don't say anything at all. And you clearly don't have anything constructive to say, because when you try and talk about Stephenie Meyer, all you do is attack her and act like you're above her. FYI, you're not. If anything, she's a hell of a lot better than you. I know I just contradicted myself, and I don't care, because personally I believe that Stephenie Meyer is the best writer in the world, okay? My opinion. Don't like it, fuck off. Jesus Christ, this makes me angry. Okay, I'm gonna go now, because I'm really angry. I've said my piece, and you can send me messages, and you can bitch at me and say that I don't like haters, but I'm hating on Stephen King, and I'm not hating on Stephen King. I'm simply retaliating, and there's nothing wrong with that, because think of it as defence. I'm going to defend Stephenie Meyer with everything that I've got, because I believe that she needs to be defended. I believe that she deserves it, not because I believe that it's necessary, but believe I want to stand up for her. I feel the need to do it. I don't know why. I feel almost protective of the books, but deal with that how you want to. Yeah. Stephen King, fuck you.